Hi, it's Shane again. Right now I'm walking part of the Spirit Trail. Just kind of on the bike overpass, kind of crossing the low road here, and soon we'll end up in a more scenic part of the trail. But yeah, I thought today I would talk about myself a little bit, some of my interests, and let you guys get to know me a little bit better. And I think probably one of the first things about me is I love to travel. I like to go to new places, explore new areas, and also explore familiar areas in sort of a deeper depth. Now, one of the things about living in an area, that I've noticed over the years is you can live there your entire life, but as soon as someone comes in from out of town and, asks you like, oh, what's good to do? What's good to see? You always struggle to come up with something because you're so bogged down in your day-to-day life that you just sort of take everything for granted, and you become generally unaware of, what might be interesting. Unless something like new and exciting has, recently opened up, you tend to fall back down onto the, say same three landmarks, which is okay if they're only visiting for 3 days. But, it ends up being a problem if they're going to be there for a couple of weeks, because now they're just sort of scrambling, trying to figure out, what to do. Which is also why I, really like, watching a lot of these travel videos is, they give you a good idea of, kind of what's around. But like I said, if you're there for a very short period of time, it's pretty good. But if you're there for a couple of weeks, then, again, you just sort of run out of things to do, which is why I like to walk around a lot, explore different areas, discover new things, especially since even in the place where you live, the landscape is constantly changing, and a lot of times it's just so gradual that you don't notice. But if you were to move away for 2 years and come back, then suddenly half the landmarks you remember are gone and replaced with something else. But yeah, so in some of my future videos, I think I'll kind of highlight some of the places that I've been in the past. Maybe a couple of stories of things that happened to me while I was traveling. But in the meantime, other things that I like to do. I like to cook as a hobby. I don't do it very often because I don't really like cooking for myself. I always appreciate it when I make something and somebody else could try it. I like to spend time outdoors. I think that's very, very important. And for a number of years, I just sort of had a job that sat me in front of a computer all day. And yeah, I think it's important to get outside, get some fresh air, and I like to go camping, barbecue, which again goes back to my enjoyment of cooking, and I actually like barbecue even more because I just think flame on your food sort of makes it taste better. Some people know exactly what I'm talking about. Others might disagree. But yeah, I think there's something really extra special about, food that's cooked over an open fire. Now, on the other side, that does actually make cooking a little bit more difficult in some cases. But you'd be surprised, some of the things and, how easy it can be just to throw it over like hot coals or, you know, under on top of an open flame. Camping, I love camping. I think I always probably feel best sleeping when I'm camping. I don't know what it is. It's the sound of nature, or, you know, I usually like try to find a place by like a creek or a river, just have that running water all night, and, you know, also waking up to the sun shining through your tent. You know, I think it's just like it's a really pleasant way to wake up in the morning. Now, I'm going to show you something as I come up to it, but I'm not going to show you the whole thing because it actually goes on for quite a minute, you know, or a few minutes, I should say. But I'm just going to pop the camera around just so that you can take a look. Part of the Spirit Trail shows you little snippets of the history of this immediate area. Now, you know, I'm not going to read all that to you, but it goes on for quite a while. Gaps in the writing, and the writing actually goes up one side and then down the other, so it's actually literally on both sides of this path. I'll try to, I don't know if you can see that clearly. Crouch down. I don't know. I can't tell by my view screen. But yeah, so like I said, it goes on both sides of the path. Basically, the area that I'm in, the harbor. They have like coal piles there. You know, some elevators, and then in the direction that we're walking. That's where all the shipyards were. Now, most of the shipyards have actually been shut down and sort of gentrified. And they come in to, like, you know, they built like a whole little section of, like, you know, restaurants and shops and, you know, big open courtyards and a seawall that you walk across. And it's like right next to Lonsdale Quay, which again is more shops, restaurants, and it's a nice little area overlooking the water. There's a little seafood restaurant I recommend. It's very, very good if you're into seafood. And then they have like this little open area which you know, they turned into part of it into like a water park for children. And then in the winter time they actually freeze it open. Oh, sorry, freeze it over. They freeze it over, and you know, they have like a skate rental shop, you know, right next door, so people can go like skating in the winter. It's pretty nice. They actually managed to keep the ice frozen for a good portion of the year, so it doesn't even matter if it's, you know, that warm out here. I think what they do is they have a way of, like, you know, keeping the surface of the ice a little bit colder than the environment around it. Oh, we got a little poem or something on a rock. Does it say? Oh no, crows were released during foggy weather, led the ship's crew safely to shore. Nice. Okay, so a little bit of local culture and history there. But yeah, this is just like a pleasant walk. You know, it's shared for pedestrians and, you know, bicycles, and people like to walk their dogs, go jogging. And it actually stretches on for quite a while. Usually I only walk this section of the trail up to about Lonsdale Quay, just past the shipyards there. But it actually goes all the way out to West Vancouver. So you can take quite the trip. I don't know if it goes past Park Royal or, you know, like through Ambleside. I'm not sure. I think so. But it may be also that they haven't developed that yet. But yeah, I guess probably that's going to be enough for now. I'm starting to ramble on a little bit, so I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and remember, be good to yourself and be good to others.